Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara, and today we're talking about what's the point of dating?
This is the first episode in our dating season. Isn't that exciting? Tomorrow we're talking about dating.
I know, it's like, such a throwback.
To be fair, we go on date nights at least once a week.
We do, we actually do that, and it's something that does really help us stay connected in that sort of way. But we've done a lot of episodes about relationships, we've done an entire season on it, and we were thinking about it, like, there's actually a step that comes before the relationship. And while a lot of people struggle with relationships, people struggle with the dating side too.
Having said that, though, I'm trying very hard not to make this as serious a season as the relationship one was, because that was a very, cerebral season. So this one's a little bit more fun, hopefully. And today we're starting out right at the beginning. Why actually do dating? What's the point? And we're looking at it from a lesbian perspective.
Always.
I was doing some research, and by that I mean reading articles by people who profess to be experts in this field. And one of the big things that sort of came across was dating is a time when you're exploring not just potential relationship, but yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dating is a time when you're discovering what you like, what you don't like, what you're looking for, and just kind of enjoying yourself.
Well, I think dating is very much like that, but I mean, I think there are a couple of different things with dating. So what is the point? Like, I think like one point can be that you're trying to find a relationship, right? I think another point can be that you're just dating to have sex, and that's completely fine as well. And I think you can also be dating so that you can find yourself. So, I think, we shouldn't always just look at dating with the result of a relationship being the end goal. I think there are many goals that dating can accomplish, and it's important to keep that in mind. So, if you're going on date after date after date and you still are not in a steady relationship, maybe that's not the point. Maybe there's another point to it.
I agree with that. But let's break it down a little more. So you were saying that dating is sometimes about just sex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're talking here about like going on a date, having some fun and then coming back and having some nookie, right?
Right.
As opposed to dating as in I'm going on multiple dates with the same person necessarily with the aim of a relationship at the end of it.
No, exactly. And the thing is, like, you're so conditioned to thinking that dating is the same as courtship. And I think it evolved into its own thing. So, I was looking up dating, and I was like, what the history of dating. And dating's actually relatively new. It's not a thing that, has been going on for eons. Because, initially marriage was pretty much a business transaction. You didn't have the luxury of dating. You didn't have the luxury of really choosing. And women had no choice really at all. It's something quite new that's come with emancipation of women. Once people could start exploring being with other people instead of just being told this is who you're going to marry, you had courtship where you would test out being with this person, and that lasted for a really long time. But now that's evolved into, I think, what the modern concept of dating is. And that's no longer just, I'm going to be with this person to see if it will work in a relationship. I think there's other things that you can do. So, it can be with the aim of trying to find a partner, whether it's a long-term partner or a shorter-term partner. It can also be, I'm going on a date because I really need to get an itch scratched. Or it could be, I'm trying to discover more about myself. What do I like? What do I want? What do I enjoy? And, I think that's cool too.
I think one of the other things about getting to know yourself better and the sort of fun part of dating is that you get to experience things that you hadn't even thought of before. When you and I were dating, I took you to the kinds of restaurants that I liked to go to, and you hadn't necessarily been to those. And you introduced me to home-cooked Portuguese food, which I had never experienced before. And so there's this experience sharing which really broadens your horizons, and it's just a really fun part of dating.
No, it is. That falls into that sort of third category where there is self growth in it. But at the same time, if you're going into the first category, there's also shared experiences and building that connection from, sharing things with each other or learning new things. I mean, we went sandboarding together for the first time for both of us, and that was a date, and that was a new experience for both of us. So it's something that we got to share, experience. Think about team building at workplaces. You get to experience usually things which are new for most people, and you do it together, and from that you share a bond, you build rapport or whatever. It's the same thing but on a more personal basis.
That's true. And in fact, that's something you and I still love to do, is to go out and do new things together, to experience it for the first time together. We also went paragliding.
Yeah, which was this most, and it was such a disappointment that, like, I really thought that there would be a thrill, an adrenaline rush, and when you're standing at the top of the cliff there is, but once you're off the cliff there isn't.
Yeah, it's like a gentle swing. It's very weird.
It really is. It's so strange. But when we did the tree canopy zip line, that had a lot of adrenaline, and there you're like much more harnessed in. So, but I mean, those were all amazing experiences, and they helped to build our relationship. But we also learned things about ourselves then, like, I'm too short to reach the zip line.
Actually, I learned some stuff about you too when we were doing that sort of thing. And you learn stuff, I think, about your partner, the person you're dating, that you wouldn't learn in other circumstances. I learned that you're quite a feisty go-getter who's up for an adventure, and that's amazing.
So, what is the point of dating?
The point of dating is to get to know the person that you're dating better. Well, I suppose it's like what you said. I mean, are you dating for looking for a relationship? Or are you dating because it's something to do? Or are you dating because you don't want to be alone?
Well, I think, it can be summed up that dating is about exploration. And it's exploration of different things, but I think in the end, exploration, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. And I think it's important for people who are in the dating phase of their life to keep that in mind and to treat it not too seriously and to have fun.
I agree with that. I also think, though, that whatever it is that you want to get out of dating, you need to kind of be upfront with whoever you're dating. Because if somebody is looking for a long-term relationship and you're just there for the nookie, there's a problem going to develop.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I mean, when I was doing a little bit of research for this topic, so many people are like, what's the point of dating? So many marriages fail, or what's the point of dating? Relationships don't last. That's where so many people are at. And the thing is, I think it's a mindset shift. The problem is that so many people have different things about what they're expecting from dating. And especially if you're using dating apps like Tinder or Bumble or whatever, some of them have a reputation for being more hookup apps, where others have a reputation for being dating apps. But I think, even on those platforms, you'll have people looking for different things. So I think it's important to, if you're using something like that, in your profile, state what you want. And it doesn't mean that that's the only thing you want, but if your primary motivation for being on a dating app is to get into a relationship, then state that up front, and hopefully you won't end up with so many one-night stand looking people. Whereas, if you are looking much more for a one-night stand, don't look for a relationship, because you're probably not going to end up having sex on those dates anyway, because that's not where those people are.
Another thing that occurs to me while we're talking about this subject is be open to things that you didn't think you liked or were looking for, or that kind of thing. Let people surprise you.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So many people go in and they're like, okay, I want a person who has this kind of job and drives this kind of car and has a dog that's exactly this. But if you go in with an open mind and you go with I'm here to experience stuff, I'm here to grow my point of view, I'm here to just enjoy myself while I'm having fun, you can be pleasantly surprised and find somebody attractive who you didn't think in a million years you'd find attractive.
Oh, like 100%. I was talking with a colleague at work the other day, and they're talking about their cousin who, if you had to like read her CV, you would think, she was the biggest catch ever. She's successful, she's younger, she's pretty, but she just can't hold down a relationship. And we were talking, and then I figured out why. It's because she's got this laundry list of what this person needs to be. So she's cutting out people before they even had a chance for her to get to know them. So, oh, your hair is not the right shade of brown. I'm sorry, I can't date you. Oh, you only go to gym 2 times a week instead of 4. Sorry, can't date you. People aren't made for you to date. You're never going to be able to go onto some sort of shop and place your little order, and the Uber delivery comes and sets out your date right there for you to match all your things. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to be someone's prize catch either. Everyone has to give a little.
Well, take for example this very gorgeous woman I knew back in the day who was heterosexual as far as she knew. If she wasn't open to dating me, we wouldn't be sitting here making a podcast today.
No, it's true. I mean, I did not know that I was into girls. It's not something that I would have thought of. And in fact, when we were dating, we didn't quite know we were dating.
Which makes us super qualified for this podcast series.
But I mean, I think the thing is we got to explore. And I mean, we got to explore in a way which was, there were no expectations.
Which was amazing because we got to, both of us, because I was still kind of coming out of the closet at that point. So it was, I think, exactly what we both needed.
No, completely. And it's completely weird and completely outside of the norm in terms of dating, but it worked. And I think that's important. I think people need to understand that that's okay. You don't have to follow gating. Hey, gating, is that gay dating?
Nice. It's gating. Whoop, whoop.
You don't have to follow some sort of dating guideline. Dating can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to include a movie. It doesn't have to include dinner. You don't have to pay. They don't have to pay. You don't have to pay halvesies. There's a lot of things that dating can be, and putting stress and pressure on yourself for it to be book perfect or movie perfect is silly. Enjoy.
Thank you for being an awesome listener and supporting Tilt, the channel that brings you all the podcasts you want to hear. You're listening to Tilt. Find more podcasts on thelesbiantalkshow.com. I think you nailed it there. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your partner or your potential partner. But at the same time, I also want to say it's okay to have a certain level of standards. I, for example, would not date a woman today if, you and I were not together today. Being where I am in my space, I wouldn't date a woman who was in the closet. It would be very hard for me to do that.
No, completely. Look, I think everyone has to have standards. You have to know, I am not going to go out with someone who's in the closet because I'm past that and I'm at a different point in my life, and that's okay. It can also be okay to say, I am not going to date someone who is aggressive because I can't cope with that. That's okay. You can even say, hey, I'm not going to date someone who likes to drive fast cars because fast cars make me nervous. Whatever parameter you put in place, that's fine. But the thing is to not be too judgmental when it comes to the human. They don't have to tick all the boxes. They just have to tick some boxes, and you'll find that they'll probably tick other boxes which you didn't even think of. They're even more important, such as your personal values. They probably share the same type of boundaries. They'll probably have your same quirky sense of humor, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like, it's okay to have boundaries when they're self-care boundaries.
Yes.
So it's okay to have self-care boundaries, but it's not okay to impose sort of artificial boundaries on and expectations.
Yeah. So I mean, if someone's teeth are slightly crooked, don't judge them. I mean, that's not worth not being in a relationship about.
But also use dating as a way to explore yourself and your own inner world. Because talking to somebody on that intimate level can give you a different perspective about yourself and where you're at. It's interesting and totally worth doing.
It is. So you're the point of dating. Do it because it's good for you.
Okay. I like this. So we're going to move on from here and we're going to actually cover such a range of dating related topics to the point where I feel comfortable calling this season Dating a Woman, a Guide for Women, which I feel quite chuffed about because you got the first woman, which is singular, and then the final woman, which is plural, and I don't know, it tickles me.
You're so cute.
Next episode, we talk about finding someone to date. How do you go about it? And what should you be looking out for? I'm excited about that one.
So, get your binoculars on while we go and, search for the perfect date in the jungle of our lives.
You feeling poetic over there, wife? I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And you've been listening to Let's Talk About It. If you enjoy this show, then please like it on Apple Podcasts, because then people find us and they all can hear our awesomeness, and it's just great fun.
Mm-hmm. And please share the podcast with your friends, your family, people you love, people you hate. Anyone really, we'll take it all. Let us know on our social media about what you think the point of dating is.
Yes.
And pointers you have about dating.
Okay, that's all for this week. Bye.
Bye.